of the expense. Now it is. So when normal understanding, when you talk about tax, you pay tax on profits. Now when the number of diamond companies, and not just here, everywhere that we speak to, they consider tax as one of the expense, and that's something which needs to be budgeted for. Like how I will give an increment to my employee salary. So if I pay tax X amount, next year I will pay X plus say 10%. So that is how we look at tax. Now in the slides that we will follow, I would invite your attention to a different perspective with which you can look at the tax. While yes, tax is an expense, can we really look at that as an investment item? And why investment? To make our balance sheet bankable. We'll cover that in the next slide. But this is by and large what we have as a manufacturer, and as a trader, we work on almost 3% margin, removing the cost, it is about 1% tradable profit. So that is the, by and large, the manufacturer and a trader P&L looks like. Let's come to the balance sheet. Now I've just drawn a simple balance sheet of a manufacturer. Now as I said earlier, we have almost 3 months of raw material and processing time. Then we have finished goods of almost 3 months. And then we give a receivable, market credits, which is 4 months. So if you really package all of that together, we are talking about on a 100 rupee turnover, almost 83 as a funding requirement. We may have some marginal investment at 10 in the fixed assets. Now how am I going to generate this level of finance? So obviously, I go back to either capital, market credit, and the supplier, the bank credit. Now, as I mentioned earlier, between market credit and a bank finance is what the trade-off we end up making it. And by and large, market credits are expensive. So when I say 43 round there, you can safely take that if it is an 100 rupee turnover, you can expect 40 rupee from bank by way of a bank finance. Now that's the ratio which has been established for the diamond bankers as well. So with a 100 rupee turnover, up to 40 rupees, I don't mind extending a bank finance, which includes pre-shipment, post-shipment, everything put together. Now coming back to this deliberation, I want you to really consider, and I know there are market practices where we have an operations, but maybe our balance sheet and P&L does not reflect actual operations. And this is a standard practice. Now, one of the place where I'm inviting you to look at and inquire, I know that most of the players don't show the true picture. Again, one of the concern could be I end up paying tax. Now, consider that if you have an 100 rupee turnover and you have a profitability and thereby you pay about 1% as a tax. Now, if this is the tax that you end up paying it, consider that you are able to generate a bank finance of 40 rupees. Now, I'm comparing that if you were to go for a bank finance, the cost of finance would not be more than LIBOR plus 200, 300, 400, say maximum 400. Whereas the market credits are available generally about 1% a month, which is 12%. Looking at the differential costing, which is about 8%, even if I were to take, bank will give me 20 rupees as a finance, I may even end up saving 20 rupees na 8%, which is 1.6. I have taken 3.2. Now, even then, for me to pay tax of 1 rupee may still be a viable proposition because I am able to save on my finance cost, because I will cover my market credits with the bank finance, and that is much more efficient way of managing my funding part. So this is one perspective which I just wanted you to have and look at your own operations, where you are in terms of deciding how am I structuring my balance sheet. So let's go to the next question as to what will it take for you to really have a bankability. Because we said that our industry requires the bank finance, which means we definitely need to go back to the resource from where we can get the bank finance. So if I have to apply for a bank finance, what is it that bank will look at it? And how can I make my balance sheet and P&L a bankable so that the case is much stronger? Now, these are the 4 quadrant under which I want to deliberate as far as the bankability is concerned. First is the profitability. Clearly that, we having a profitable business and a profitable balance sheet and a P&L definitely is much more attractive than any other companies. Now, even in profitability, time and again, I will go back to the tax part, and don't take me that I'm here to promote the more paying of the tax, not that, that's the intention. But if you really look at it, where bankers think, they look at various items of your, they know your GP is 8-10%, and then look at various expenses items. Now, believe me, not just from bankers, but from any external authority, the tax that you pay is the single most reliable item. No other item of expenditure is reliable than a tax, because that's a payment that you make to the government. Anything else that you can pay to someone, you can't tell government, you please give me back through something else. Now, that's just on a lighter side. But the point is, the more tax that you pay, there is a credibility that you establish, that here is a company which is paying a lot of tax. Definitely, they're making money, and that is a company which gives me a comfort for me to give a bank finance. So that's one side. Looking at the balance sheet ratio. Now, bankers expect you to have your own capital invested into the firm. So it is not just their funding, they want you also to be funded equally. So there are some ratios. So what are the typical ratios that bank would look at it? So if, let's say, you have invested 25 rupees, bank will go up to maximum 75, provided you are not enjoying any market credit. But if you are enjoying a market credit, bank would want that market credit and my finance put together should not exceed 75. So that is one ratio which banks measure, is called TOL to TNW ratio. What is called as total outside liability to total net worth, which further means that in a business, you as the promoter need to have at least 25% of your contribution in the business. Then it will give me a comfort to extend the bank finance. Then the current ratio that you maintain is about 1.3. It could range from 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Profitably, I already spoke about. These are all the working capital norms, by and large, which are accepted. Now, we have been making presentation to lead bankers like State Bank of India, even to Indian Banking Association. These are the norms which, by and large, they have accepted. That industry runs on this kind of a norms, where you invest, you have a raw material of 3 months, finished goods of 3 months, receivables of 4 months, payable depends. If you're a site holder, if you're buying from the miners directly, you don't have any credit, but if you are buying from the market, it could be 90 days or 120 days. So this is an accepted norms which bankers would take it. Going back to the lower quadrant. Now here I want to stress that how important it is to actually adopt the best practices. Now, what I mean by best practices is that bankers for you are your partners. So with partners, you will have the highest level of transparency, sharing of informations. These are all the things. There will be a regular interaction between you and the bankers. Bankers know exactly what is happening with your business. Even if you are under stress, you go upfront and share with your bankers. I remember in Rosy Blue earlier, before the crisis period, which was 2007-8, we used to share with the banks. We have a stock statement. Everyone knows that we submit stock statement to the banks. Along with the stock statement, we started a practice of sharing what is the total forward contract outstanding throughout my entire banking partners. So we have about 10 plus bankers. तो कोई पण एक बैंकर पासे बीजा बैंक पासे शू तमारो आउटस्टैंडिंग जे खबर न હોય. They know, Bank of India would know that my outstanding with you is so much. But they may not know what are you outstanding forward contract with, say, State Bank of India or ABN. We started this practice. The total list, we will share it to all the banks. Now, in one of the consortium, it was really taken it up as a strong point, and it was acknowledged by them that not many companies would do this. So it is like you are really sharing whatever you are outstanding. Now, this is one practice. I also remember that diamond dollar account. Now, how many of you know about diamond dollar account? Most of us? Perfect. Now, this diamond dollar account was initiated, or rather it was set as a guideline almost 20 years back. 1999 કે 98 એટલે 15 years back પહેલાં this was said, but almost for 6 years it was not in use. I remember very well Russell Bhai, Rosy Blue Arun Bhai's son, he is the one who actually took initiative, worked with the council. We insisted that let us promote this diamond dollar account because it has a lot of benefit. It is very unusual if you are an Indian, between two Indians, you are trading in dollars. Now this never happens. Go to India, across India, any other industry, between one Indian to another Indian, you are not allowed to trade in dollars. Now this was there, but we were not using it. Now we insisted that we will do a transaction in diamond dollar account. This was, I remember, in 2005-06. That became as one of the best practice adopted by more and more diamond players, and that really gave a support. There was a time when RBI was to drop that DDA provisions, and finally it took off. So again, when you are trading in diamond dollar account, which means you are not maintaining any parallel records. You are clear that I am doing a transaction with him, it is in DDA. I don't need to maintain my other records or other dealings. Whatever is there is in my books. So that's again example of another good practice. And I remember again going back to the foreign exchange transaction. જ્યારે 2007-08માં crisis થયેલી ત્યારે one of the issue that was highlighted by many bankers that companies will transact on derivative contract with a bank which is not even extending them a bank finance. Now we adopted a policy that if I have to deal with A banks on derivative contract or any other forward contract, it has to be part of the consortium. Because what would typically happen is that your consortium bankers are funding you and you have to fund your other current account because of the losses that you may incur there. Now these are all the practices that you as a corporate can develop, and there could be many more lists. It will all come out of your willingness, your initiative, first to treat bankers as your partners, B, to take those actions which are consistent as a partner. So not that they are on this side and I am on this side. I am actually working together to make sure that the entire business is moving forward with mutual cohesiveness. You can also do one more thing about the audited balance sheet. Now audited balance sheet, generally we close the normal practices that August, September tax audit કરવાનું આવે ત્યારે compulsory મારે close કરવી પડે. Now bankers definitely want that you give them in April, May, June, so that અગર તમારું enhancement નું પણ proposal હોય તો they can sort of process faster because they rely on audited numbers. Generally practice એવી હોય છે કે તમે સપ્ટેમ્બરમાં આપો, ઓગસ્ટમાં આપો, by the time they process it is almost November, sanction આવે December, એટલે જે enhancement તમને April 1st માં જોતી હોય એ તમને મળે January, February, Marchમાં. Now here is where you internally need to work on, okay, can I close my balance sheet on within 1 month? It may not be difficult, I mean impossible તો નથી જ, but that is where you will have to work on. કારણ કે from bankers point of view, consider that you have given them a balance sheet on 30th April. The first thought that comes to their mind, and they something appreciate, okay, here's a company which is actually closing everything including stocks on 31st March by 30th April, which means there are no backdated changes, there are no adjustments, company is transparent. That develops the confidence. So just given you some of the examples, and I can go on and tell you what all things one needs to do as best practices which develops this rapport between a banker and a company. Now these are all the things, as I said, if you were to really develop this, bankers would be happy because banks understand that now you understand them. So let's move on to the other factors. Other factors which are equally critical is like the external rating. પહેલાં એવું હતું કે લોકો જ્યારે આ રૂલ આવે બેંક લોન રેટિંગનું, above 5 crores compulsory તમારે રેટિંગ કરવું પડે. Now this rating industry also initially had their own criteria because they had not developed the competency to rate a diamond company. Over a period of time, they have also learned. They have learned from their own mistakes because they gave a rating to number of companies which finally burst. So there has been a cases like that. But over a period of time, even rating industry has developed the competencies. We as a diamond company need to understand their criteria. Okay, what is it that they look forward to? in our industry. કારણ કે અત્યારના એ ક્રિટિકલ એટલા માટે છે કે if you talk to the bankers like Bank of India, State Bank, they have now started insisting કે તમારું external rating BBB હશે તો we will consider, BB હશે તો consider. હવે પહેલાં એ લોકો આ બધું નહોતા જોતા, but now they have started looking at કે what is your external rating. એટલે that becomes one of the criteria and we can't ignore that. Then of course collateral is another issue. ECGC has been one of the issue which is faced by most of the diamond companies. Now again, we need to understand the perspective of ECGC, because ECGC has actually given much more claims because of the default by some of the companies. એટલે જે પ્રીમિયમ એ લોકોને મળતું હતું એના કરતાં એ લોકોએ જે ક્લેમ એક્સેપ્ટ કર્યા છે that is far higher. Now because of which they have stopped giving ECGC cover on the enhancement portion. So I hear a lot of cases from diamond companies કે બેંક ઓફ ઇન્ડિયા છે, સ્ટેટ બેંક ઓફ ઇન્ડિયા, જ્યાં આગળ તમે જાઓ તમારી એનહેન્સમેન્ટની રિક્વેસ્ટ લઈને, સો દે ડોન્ટ એન્ટરટેન ઓર ઇટ ઇઝ એટ અ મચ હાયર કોસ્ટ. નાઉ this is one area of concern for the industry. There are other initiatives by GJEPC and other members which has been taken up to address this issue. But point of putting it here is that you need to know that this is one area which is a concern for ECGC, for the bankers. કારણ કે bankers now don't get ECGC cover. So even bankers are also a bit nervous because without ECGC cover, they now need to rely on their own risk assessment much more than an external agency. So what they normally do, some of the bankers who don't get the ECGC, they insist for a higher collateral. એ લોકો એમ કહે કે તમે અત્યારના 20% આપતા હોય તો 30% collateral આપો. Why? Because if I don't have ECGC, then the risk weightage for your account is higher, and that risk weightage which is higher, if you give me a collateral, I can compensate that, because they also need to follow their own norms. So they can't really just accept your case without an ECGC versus another case with ECGC. So those are all the balancing act. You need to know that collateral at a higher percentage is what would support you to make again case bankable. So that's on ECGC. Collateral, again there has been a lot of discussion between the bankers and a company as to what percentage of collateral. We said export finance है तो 20% 30% થી વધારે નહીં હોવું જોઈએ. But because of the risk increase over last few years, they have become extremely cautious. So they actually insist for much higher percentage of collateral. So if you have a collateral, great. If you don't have, make sure that your balance sheet is strong enough to support the lower risk weightage for your account. This has been one issue which even we discussed with the deal committee members about the partnership, because some of the banks are insisting કે આપણે જેટલી અત્યારના firms છે, majority of them are operating as partnership firms. Now banks are insisting that you convert partnership into private limited. Now what is banks issue here? Now consider you are a partnership firm, you have your own capital. Now this capital or loans, you can take it back anytime. There are no regulations. Whereas if it is a private limited company, Companies Act does not allow you to do this. So if you have given a loan or a directors have given a loan in the firm, now and that is something which bank would insist as the subordinated loan which you can't withdraw, then there are implications if you do that. So banks are always comfortable to have a private limited company because they have seen a cases that whenever there are defaults, partners' capital is not there in the business. So what they are left out with is only they are the on the left hand side, they are the only player, and then there are some assets like stocks and data. So this is what banks are really concerned about. However, there has been a representation which is made to the banks. It may come up as part of the bank's policy that up to a threshold, don't insist. So because number of firms say below 500 crore turnover or below 100 crore of bank finance, don't insist for such a conversion and have that beyond a threshold. So those are the alternates which is under deliberations. And if at all you want to insist for a private limited conversion, again, if the firm is not converting, insist for a slightly higher percentage of 5% collateral by way of a property. So do some trade-off rather than stopping the bank finance processing at all. So these are again to and fro between bankers and the council and the